The topic du jour, certainly at this time right now, is hiring and staffing. Good grief. We talk about that more right now than just about we talk about anything. So what are the top 5 hiring mistakes? Well, I spoke with a former COO of Disney a while back and had a brief conversation about how he spent the allotment of time he's devoted to each work week. His response really took me back. I spend 60% of my week trying to find the right people to bring into Disney. In my head, I'm thinking, you mean to tell me that you're basically devoting all of Monday, all of Tuesday, all of Wednesday to finding and hiring people? He obsessed over finding and developing the right people to fit the mission of Disney because he realized that the amusement of Disney is a commodity. You can find similar amusement at Six Flags or Carowinds or any number of other theme parks around the world. But what makes Disney of higher customer value is the non-commodity part of Disney, the people. See, coffee is basically coffee. What makes a great coffee experience is the barista who remembers your name and remembers that your kindergartner just had graduation last week. Hotel rooms are basically hotel rooms. I realize there's some difference, but what makes a great guest stay experience is the person at the front desk making you feel like you're the only guest. Our product and service, whether it's ice cream, a $5 million custom home, or a consultation, is simply a commodity. I know we don't like to hear that, but what makes it a repeatable experience is the person facilitating the relationship. All of a sudden, you realize why the former COO of Disney would spend at least 3 days out of every week locked in on finding and developing the right people. As business owners recruit and train, these team members recruit and train, there are 5 common mistakes that we make that sabotage our experience. The first mistake we make in hiring employees is making excuses about why we can't find employees. Listen, hiring is hard work and it requires grit and grind. Very few businesses in the world have a line of people standing outside of their metaphorical door awaiting the slim chance of entry. We must treat hiring with the same reverence, passion, skill, strategy, and accountability that we treat sales and operations and accounting. In a market where there are plenty of applicants, you've got to do the hard work of making your business attractive and irresistible, ensuring that there's clear expectations, over-communication, and a motivational fit. In a market where there are very few applicants, you must do the hard work of making your business attractive and irresistible. Attractive and irresistible. That leads to the second mistake. When we don't set those expectations, the second mistake is that we're unclear about what we're asking them to do. So let's be blunt. Please, write a clear job role. There, I said it. There's no magic to this. What is the role that you're asking them to do? Now write it down in plain language. No corporate speak. Don't say you want a self-starter or someone who's results-oriented unless you're hiring a salesperson or a visionary. Otherwise, we've got to realize internally that 86% of the world's population, according to People Keys, have a passive personality. They're waiting to receive instruction. Map out all of the elements that you're asking them to do day by day. They actually want that. That's not micromanagement. But don't stop there. Also, we need to provide an example weekly schedule of what their week might look like hour by hour and day by day. Not the corporate stuff that says a day in the life of, and it really has no relevance to what the actual day in the life of looks like, but an actual day in the life of. Now, you might say, that's unreasonable. My response is, then you're not ready to hire if you think that's unreasonable. In fact, please don't hire if you're unwilling to bring clarity through a written role and a written model weekly schedule. You're setting your new employee up for failure, and it's not fair to them or their family, and it will negatively impact your business. Third mistake we make in hiring employees is we have no idea what a new hire compensation will do to our finances. Breaking even on a role is not a profitably winning strategy. We've heard many owners and employees say in the past, if we could just sell X number of widgets or services, then we'll break even on this role. We've got to shift our mindset to seeing employees as investment in growth. Many business owners use a 1-to-3 ratio when thinking through how to compensate an employee. And so this 1-to-3, basically for every dollar invested in an employee, the expectation is that the employee's work will return around $3 of real revenue if you used a 1-to-3 ratio. And by the way, real revenue is total revenue minus cost of goods sold. If you look it up in Profit First, Mike Michalowicz's excellent book. It might be more than a 1-to-3, but we hope it would not be much less. Each employee is not brought in to just fill time and space, but instead to push the business ahead profitably towards its powerful mission. The fourth mistake we make in hiring, and this mistake is widespread, is neglecting to properly onboard a new team member and then wonder why the new employee feels lost, but won't say anything about it. The challenges we have with employees 6 months and 6 years from now are challenges that could have been prevented if we're willing to make time and put in the hard work now. Hard work is not taking a mindset with employee that each should exhibit what we would call common sense. In fact, that's really a myth. Candidly, the idea of common sense is a misnomer. In many cases, the things that are common to you may not be common to me, even if we live in the same community, are from the same background. I still don't understand some of the things my very own neighbors do, and they probably don't understand some of the things that I do. So relying on an adherence to common sense is a losing strategy. Instead, we should intentionally define scripted onboarding process that includes at least 3 different items. The first is a scripted hour-by-hour weekly schedule over a 4-week period so the employee doesn't feel lost within the first month. The second item is a set time weekly for your team member to meet with the owner or supervisor for a 15 to 20 minute check-in. I know, Scott, I don't have the time. We have to make the time. The third item is a written list of questions that the owner or supervisor will ask during that weekly check-in time. Questions like, what are you seeing and thinking? What questions do you have about your role? What do you need from me? Also, use that time to offer feedback to your new team member with your insight to this statement. Here is what I see in you and what I need from you. Most business cultures do not have a predictable platform for employees to have encouraging or challenging conversations. You must make time for this, and you have to implement. When a new employee comes into your business, they have fresh perspective on the business that you will not get back. So make the time to mine their perspective and learn from it. The fifth mistake we make in hiring employees is not intentionally building our culture and instead just sort of crossing our fingers and hoping for the best. Culture is a biology term. We want to build culture, right? Well, that's a biology term, and it draws its roots from words like tend and cultivate. We've got to stop thinking that certain businesses they're lucky because they have a good culture, and other businesses are unlucky because they have a bad culture. Your culture is a direct result of what you tend and cultivate. If you don't like it, uncross your fingers and start tending and cultivating different habits, tools, conversations, meetings, and goals. Culture has little to do with ping pong tables and beanbag chairs and has more to do with written vision, mission, values, team meetings, clear expectations, regular feedback, encouragement, and challenge, pushback. There's actually one more mistake that business owners make in the hiring process, and it starts before the hiring process even begins. It's the unknown mistake that we make in that hiring, not realizing that hiring is recruiting, and that element of hiring that's recruiting. We treat the recruitment of potential first-class employees like the beat-up computer kiosk in a dark corner of a Walmart customer service area. We just throw it out to a few people. Hey, we need to fill this role, and then hope that they are powerfully motivated by our half-hearted approach and mindlessly submit an application. We bring passion in marketing our business for external customers, those that purchase your goods and services. It's crucial that you begin to think of pre-hiring process as marketing for internal customers, those people that are going to deliver your goods or services, your employees. I'll never forget walking into the recruiting room at the collegiate football powerhouse, Clemson University. Now, that's a rival, but nonetheless, it was still impressive. The room was filled with life, orange everywhere, and 2 huge floor-to-ceiling whiteboards that were filled with the last name of high school athletes from around the world. There's a full-time staff devoted and obsessed with finding the right athletes to fill the roles for what they're looking for. When you're recruited by a collegiate football team, the red carpet is rolled out, and the process is clear from front to back. Do we do that with our business? And if not, why not? Let's stop playing games with hiring and remember that this is the livelihood of you and your family and your employees and their families. Let's take hiring off of the back burner and let's treat it with the same vigor that we treat marketing to external customers.